I miss anonymity, and I miss the anonymity of travel. So when I travel, I love going to places where I have, there's a wonderful anonymity that comes with travel. You can kind of leave yourself behind and just watch people. I miss going to like music festivals sometimes and just being able to sit and people watch. Yeah, it's nice to be anonymous, so I do miss that. I've one scar which I enjoyed as a kid because it was a tree climbing scar. I found like a rotted branch or a rotted trunk of a tree and put it against a tree that I wanted to climb because it had sticks coming off of it. And in my childish brain, it looked like a ladder. It looked like you could rest this upon it and climb up this climb up this stick using the rotten branches off of it. And of course, I got halfway up and it fell, and I cut all kind of across my torso, which at the time covered the entirety of my torso. But as I've grown, now it's very, very, it's tiny. It's a scratch. But as a kid, it was like I was so proud of it because it was this big, like looked like I'd been slashed by some wild animal. How long did it take me to write Shrike? I'm really glad that I wrote it, and I'm really glad that I put it on this EP. I think the lyrics came first. I had in my notebook for a while the kind of outlines of the three kind of pre-chorus or chorus lyrics. I don't know, it took a while to find a melody that suited those lyrics and suited the cadence of it. So it took a while. It had the lyrics for a long, long time. I kind of was in love with the idea of the song, and then for longer than I can think of. And that was one of the last songs I wrote, so it was kind of, to me, it's quite still fresh still kind of fresh on my hands, so to speak. I know it seems like I've been gone for a while, but in the Fae realm, time moves different. No, I'm joking. Like in the last 12 months, I maybe took what feels like 8 to 12 months off to decompress, and I was on the road, even though the album was released in late 14 and kind of took off in 15. I toured that for 2 years across the world, which was great. It was mid 2016 when I got off the road. And then the last 12 months of my life from this point has been demoing, writing and arranging and recording this record. So I never really felt like I went away, I'm from a spot called County Wicklow in Ireland. I'm not too far from the city. It is kind of the edge of the countryside, but I moved out there when I was a kid. I would have a lot of like folk influences, some of which would be like American folk and UK folk, but then a great deal of Irish folk. It was falling in love with Seamus Heaney's poetry that informed the way that I looked at the land and nature and stuff that was already there. And I think when I kind of fell in love with his work, that informed some of my work as well. I don't always put myself in the songs, in my own head anyway. It makes it easier if I have a bit of a distance between myself and the person singing that song. Sometimes I approach the narrative of the song as if that's a character, and that's the story that they are telling. And I would never write songs with names or anything like that, which would be creepy and weird. How did I choose? It was really, really hard. First of all, a lot of them are artists that shaped my musical education and kind of shaped the landscape of my musical tastes. Nina Simone, in particular, which is why I think the song is named for her. really it was artists who, to me, like they're kind of, in my mind anyway, they spoke about and sang about the difficulties that their generation faced, like Dylan with kind of anti-war music, or Seeger with civil and workers' rights. Billie Holiday is singing a song as incredible as Strange Fruit, something that would have been heavily resisted at the time. But yeah, so artists who kind of weren't afraid of saying something they felt needed to be said. They don't talk to me about it. No, I'm joking. They won't play me in the house. No, my mum and dad, I think of this recent batch, I think they quite like Shrike. There's a song that I had released, there was a song that I had written and demoed, which actually hasn't been recorded and is not on the record, which I think they were not disappointed, but I think they were, which might be recorded at some stage. But so yeah, that's not a helpful answer because you haven't heard it. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a huge Florence and the Machine fan. Yeah, I've seen her live a few times as well too, and her stage show is just absolutely unbelievable. That opportunity hasn't arisen yet, but hopefully, yeah, in the future, I would absolutely love to. I would never turn that down. To be honest, I would love to. Tom Waits for me was a big influence as a teenager. Tom Waits is one of the reasons that I think I make music. As a teenager, I fell in love with his work. I fell in love with his lyricism and this sort of perfect crookedness to his work, that kind of a perfect ugliness to his work, which as a teenager was kind of my kind of safe place. I'd love to work with him. I am aware of talk that I am somewhat of beyond this natural world. I would divert you to my legal team on that one, and I will not comment. I refuse to comment. I am somewhat aware. I'm becoming more and more informed of my lesbian cult following, and you guys are amazing. Yeah, some of the people I've met at shows after Chicago in particular, got to meet some really, really fantastic people. Yeah, and I'm here too, and keep being awesome. Probably just to trust yourself and trust your own abilities and trust your own tastes as well too. Not to kind of shy away from what it is that you want to make. You'd be amazed. I do very little with my hair. It's just as curly, and it just curls. And I end up sometimes, because under lights as well too, if I wash it under warm lights, my hair just goes crazy. So the most that I do is put like a sitting conditioner or something like that, but that's only if it's just been washed. You know, it just does what it does. And to be honest, I've threatened to chop this thing off many times because it is very annoying at times, I have to say. Favorite oatmeal / porridge toppings. So we would call it porridge, I suppose, where I come from. But it is essentially oatmeal. It's very same. Honey, I have to say, chopped apple and cinnamon does the trick. But there's a good thing about it is that you can throw anything over there. Bananas and blueberries as well too. Highly recommended.